Making the invisible visible. Black women, 365 days of the year. Each day will spotlight a remarkable woman whose story has shaped Black, British or global diasporic history. Women whose achievements are too often overlooked. Through these daily short films, we create a living, breathing archive of leadership, creativity, resistance and legacy. Let's begin.
It's interesting when people ask you, who are you really? I don't know. You take all of life to begin to discover who you are. We are born from our mother's womb. We come out into the world screaming and barking. And then all these events in life, and my generation especially, dragged along. And I still don't know who I am. But I will tell you some of the genesis of me. that's there. Of course, I was born in Faizabad, in Trinidad and Tobago, which for me is a very enriching little place because it's where the oil field workers there were motivated by a Grenadian man. We used to dance at school, and dancing became absolutely crucial to my survival. And it is still survival. I grew up in a small moment of colonization, where they used to have these competitions every year through schools, it's arts. And it used to be judged by the British. They had British people coming down. So we had all sorts of categories in there. We had modern, it wasn't called contemporary, it was called modern. We had African, we had, I grew up learning Scottish and Irish dancing. You grew up learning all of those because they were part of the colonial experience, which by the way, I don't mind because I still like all that, the Irish footwork and the Scottish footwork and all of that. And then, my love of dancing grew, and then I went to Sweden first and started to dance there, add to my dancing, and then finished off at London Contemporary. Because going back to the fact that in the 60s, you remember there was a massive political shift in terms of independence from Ghana, from a lot of the African countries, from the Caribbean countries, right? I grew up in that fever of independence, all of us wanting to sever the colonial umbilical cord. And so therefore there was a massive movement for independence. And I also grew up in a very fertile period of Black power. And remember, I was near to America. So therefore your whole being was politicized. When I hit London and finished and trained and et cetera, and danced with a few companies, when I started choreographing my own work, I explored silence a lot because there were pieces I had where I had no music in it. But I also did a lot of work that was very political, like if you look at from coffee beans to disinfectant, the word itself, from coffee beans to disinfectant. I was walking down Marchmont Street in Covent Garden, and I walked into the smell of disinfectant. And that is my spin on leaving coffee beans, leaving that rich culture as far as I was concerned, and coming into this culture that was more and more sanitized, more and more disinfectant, more and more sterile. And I did a piece which was a critique in it. Now, the joy of Carnival lives in my soul. So no matter how critical I get, I always think, the beauty of MAAS, the beauty of all of that. So therefore, it was heavily political, but yet it wasn't didactic. So therefore, if you looked at it, you will find beauty in it. You will find the masquerade in it. And I don't think it's people per se. I think it's family. I think family is so important in all the things that we do as artists and as dancers. And we need that kind of support. I don't think it's unique to dance. I think it's to everybody. And that's why actors have managers, footballers have managers. In the dance world, we need to develop that a lot more, that artists aren't just flung out there on their own and there's nobody who is guiding them through this minefield, right? So I do think that's very important, of having people who understand your needs and also understand your vision and help you through that. And I think dance needs that.
Thank you for joining us for today's story. Making the Invisible Visible is our commitment to ensuring that Black women's histories and contributions are recognised, valued and kept in daily circulation. Across 2026, we will continue to share these powerful narratives, 365 days of impact, brilliance and inspiration. Stay connected, join the conversation and help us champion the women whose journeys continue to shape our world. I'm Paulette Brooks and I'm looking forward to seeing you tomorrow for the next story.